Welcome to Veronica Live, and we are here with a guest that I bumped into on X because everybody knows I have an X addiction now. I got my check mark a few months ago. I'm approaching 3 million feeds for me, so I've had such a good time. And this person I started following on X, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have him on my show. And his name is Byl Holte. He goes by Sir Byl Holte on X, and everything that he writes on X is absolutely brilliant. So, Bill, welcome to Veronica Live.
Thank you, Veronica, for having me on.
So tell people about you, because reading your X feed, you're an African American man, and then I guess you're gay too, which none of those things matter to me. I love what you write. So who are you, so people know?
Well, I'm just a 63-year-old guy who voted for the first time in 2020 for Donald Trump because apparently I was oblivious to all the media slamming that was going on around me. So while everyone I knew was being said, hate Donald Trump, I didn't get any of it. I just thought that this was a democratic country, or that we had a democratic system of voting, and I could pick one of two parties. So I did so. And boy, did I start a firestorm.
Yeah, you did, obviously. And I guess, why had you never voted before? Tell us that.
Something happened back when it was time for me to vote for the first time. Apparently, I saw something that made me think voting wasn't real, and so I never did it. And then, now I'm finding out that I made the right decision, but I am going to vote this year just for Donald Trump and hope that, what happened in 2020 doesn't happen again.
And why are you so passionate and you have such clarity about Donald Trump, which we just have to go start reading your X feed, and everything you write is just brilliant. But why do you have such a fire for him, Bill?
Because he's America first, and I want my president to put me and my country first. I've never heard a Democrat say anything nice about this country, which means they don't really care about me and what I want the country to be. Donald Trump just has a better product.
And for example, this was one of the tweets that you wrote just a couple days ago. You pinned it to the top. Don't feel bad for Joe Biden. Feel bad for Jocelyn. Feel bad for Lakin. Feel bad for Rachel. Feel bad for the 13 soldiers who died in Afghanistan. Feel bad for the 3 soldiers killed in Yemen. Feel bad for the people forced out of their jobs because of the Biden vaccine mandate. Feel bad for the border agents that are overwhelmed and overworked. And you continue on, feel bad for American taxpayers who have to pay the bill for the illegals, Zelensky's fake war, deadbeat students who can't pay their own loans. Oh my gosh, you're just like on fire. Fire, Bill.
I was that day because everybody was talking about how they feel bad for Joe Biden and what his wife is forcing him to go through. I don't feel bad for him. He's where he wants to be. If he didn't want to be there, he wouldn't be there. I feel bad for all the people his policies have hurt.
Well, and John and I run around and I talk to people, and that's the thing. The working man is barely making it, Bill. So many people I bump into have multiple jobs, and rents are so high. We're the land of Chick-fil-A, and going through the drive-thru, it's like double. So that's when you know it's bad. If you can't even get a Chick-fil-A biscuit and it's $12. You posted an ice cream cone in Philly cost $9 or something. I was like appalled at your picture of that ice cream.
I was shocked when it happened, but I didn't want to have egg on my face and say, oh no, I can't afford to pay that for this. But that's the way I felt, because I've never paid more than $3 for an ice cream cone. I didn't ask the price in advance because I didn't expect that it could possibly skyrocket like that.
Right.
Yeah. Bill, one of the things that you posted, it says that you're MAGA, Make America Great Again, but you're not a Republican. I'm curious, do you kind of align with like Candace Owen with the Brexit movement and maybe like Leo Terrell, as far as like, don't put all black people in a box and say, we're uniform and we have to vote Democrat.
Absolutely, and I'm registered Republican, but the Republicans haven't given me anything for 4 years, as I tweet about that as well. I just feel like, where is my team to fight the opposition team? So that's why I said I'm not a Republican anymore, because they don't seem to exist.
Well, I don't feel like they fight, because you mentioned Speaker Johnson, and I feel like he's giving it away too, like Kevin McCarthy. I was so excited when he came in that there was going to be change, right. and I feel like he's weak.
Yeah, he did exactly the same thing, but in my uninformed opinion, basically they're all owned by the Democrats, and they get their marching orders from the Democrats, and they can only do what the Democrats allow them to do, which is why I no longer align myself with them, because I'm a fighter. I mean, I don't know what would happen if I ever made it into government, but it wouldn't be as calm and as tame as it is now.
I say, would you be a black Matt Gaetz by any chance?
We need more Matt Gaetz.
I would be worse than Matt Gaetz.
Well, he's our congressman from the district next door to us,
and he's been on my show. We
Matt well,
so many people, they either love him or they hate him, but I love him because I feel like he's always fighting, Bill, for you know, our world and what needs to be right. Well, and being a black gay man, are you exhausted by every June when we have the Pride events? My children live in New York, and yesterday was the big parade, and they both, I heard from a lot of people that the police presence was out there and strong. I'm just tired of agendas, Bill. You can be gay and I can be straight. I just want us to wave the American flag is how I feel.
Yeah.
What do you feel?
I'm the same way because when I was growing up and I was gay, there was like maybe one group called ACT UP, and they were radical, but everybody else was just normal. We don't want to walk around naked in the streets with children around, or even without children around. And I think it's really just a generational thing, and what kids are learning from social media that is okay for them to do. I disagree with all of that.
And when you post about, because I feel like every other week Biden's trying to pay for somebody's basket weaving degree. Do you feel the same way?
Yes, I feel like they are anti-American 260%. It's like whatever America is, they want to unmake it and make it into their dystopian version of America, and I don't want that, so I'm voting for Donald Trump. I feel like I'm the black Donald Trump, the black gay Donald Trump. If I ran, they would hate me as much as they hate him.
So tell me, when you were watching the debate, because you had your best friend called you and you guys were having, you write about it on your X. What were you thinking? Because I didn't realize. I mean, I've thought that Biden is kind of a walking corpse and he's messed up so much, but it was so painful. I actually felt sorry for him. It hurt my heart that his wife, who, I put on X this weekend that she's got a fame addiction. She wants to be a Kim Kardashian is what it is, and she refuses to give back the mic. But it was so painful for me to watch this debate, Bill.
Well, it was actually kind of gratifying for me because I started fighting with my friends in 2019 saying that he was senile, and I told them that it looks like my grandfather did when he had Alzheimer's. So I know what I'm talking about, but oh my God, the fights I had. So this was justification and vindication for me. Finally, everybody could see what I've been seeing for 5 years.
Well, and I love, too, you have on your X, and this is such a bold statement, you can't spell triumph without Trump. And, I mean, John and I talk all the time that if we don't win in November, I just don't know where our country is going to be. And so tell me, that statement's so beautiful. And then you I was reading that your ex about all of these Americans that have been killed by illegals. Tell me why you feel that our border needs to be secure.
I feel that it needs to be secure because no president ever thought to unsecure it before. Only this one. And it's obviously not something that a sane person would do because who was it? Was it Reagan who said, without borders, you're not a country?
Yep.
Obviously, you have to have secure borders. That's why wars are fought.
Very true. And before you were tuned into politics, I mean, were you not paying attention at all? You were just going about your day in life?
Yep, just living my life. I didn't watch the news because I didn't want to be depressed, and I had no idea that they had launched the shadow campaign against Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that one party owned the media and that they were openly and blatantly lying about everything to the people I knew. So I'm walking around thinking everything is fine, everybody loves me, we're all having a good time, but secretly they're getting in their cars and turning on their radios and they're hearing things that now make them hate me because of who I'm voting for.
Mm. Yeah.
So, it was like kind of invasion of the body snatchers.
Which, how?
Like,
oh, go ahead, John.
Picking up that guy.
One thing I've always been curious. I've run for political office, and you go through all the demographic stuff and everything, and one thing that I had one friend that was a black gentleman that was also running for county commission same time I was. I got to know him and his wife pretty well. And what amazed me is I asked him, is the black community supporting you? And the answer was no, because he's a Republican.
No.
And I was shocked at that the black community was for the white county commissioner incumbent versus the black Republican that had their same values that
Because it's
and
not
I'm like,
a community. It's not a community. It's a monopoly. It's a fascist dictatorship. It's not a community where our arms are open to you no matter what you believe. You have to believe what we tell you to believe or we want you out.
And I've had a problem reconciling that with the black church, back to the values thing, it's like we all have common ground on the same values, and yet somehow there's this disconnect politically that says I don't want to live my values. I want to go to church and do my values, but I don't want to live them. And I've always had a problem with that disconnect,
Because it's the schools, it's the mega churches, it's the media, it's everywhere. And you don't realize it's happening. Because one day I got into an Uber and the guy had the radio on. I think it was the Black Intelligence Network. And they were talking about how you can't let Trump win and you can't do this and Trump is a racist. And I always say, if Trump is such a racist, why is your only example from 50 years ago?
Very, very true. And has it been hard? Several years ago, I was our veteran coalition leader before Senator Scott. He was our governor. And he was very in tune. I'm a Hispanic woman, and I look at myself always as an American first. But he did try to reach out to our black community here, and so I did an event called Sweet Tea in Politics, and we actually had 500 blacks that were Republican, and we sent them postcards, and many came to the event. But they talked about how hard it was being black and a Republican and supporting a Republican, that their family was mad at them. And I feel with Trump, it's even worse. We've got that Trump derangement syndrome, and people just, oh my gosh, you say Trump and they shut down. Are you finding all of this to be true?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm saying I had no idea there was a shadow campaign against him until I started saying, when I would go out with friends, I had all my friends were white because they seemed to be the people who related to me the best, but they were all Democrats and I didn't know until I started expressing my views. And one by one, they all dropped. And now I don't have any friends really, except Joey and two other people. Everybody dropped off. So that just taught me that, one, I'm right, and two, I didn't have real friends in the first place.
Well, I hate that politics does that. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like the left, when they don't like your politics, they defriend you. They like what they do to Trump. They're trying to throw you in jail. They want to take all your money. It's so sad. And we don't do that. I mean, I'll still talk to you if you're a Dem, whatever. So tell me about Kamala, because if it's not Biden, Kamala was their DEI pick for VP. And I always pick people on merit, not by skin color, race, your sexuality. And she's just been literally awful. She can't even tie her shoe, Bill. So
I know.
Tell me your thoughts about darling Kamala.
Well, I know that I didn't fall for it from the very beginning. I know that she dropped out of her own race at 2%, and she never says anything substantive. And when she does tweet, it's only to the women who want to have abortions.
Yeah.
She never
so
embraces the entirety of the country.
Right.
And so that was my first problem with her. And I used to tweet against her all the time back then because, if you were going to be vice president of America, America isn't just liberal women. You should embrace everyone. You should address the concerns of everyone. She never did. And now she just tells lies every day on Twitter. So I blocked her. I blocked her on Twitter, her and Biden, because there was just one lie after the other.
Well, it's
I feel like I'm living in the...
Her feed is all about abortion, killing babies. It really is. It's awful. So you don't like her. Well, that's good. And the other rumor that's out there.
Very few black people actually like her. They just like that she looks black and is in that office. Yeah. That's a huge difference.
Yeah. Well, I it's sad. I mean,
it's interesting too that now that you mention that, you have this within the black community. There seems to be a dividing line, because you get people like Clarence Thomas, and you hear the word "not authentically black," and I'm like, same thing.
Poor
Ben
guy.
Carson,
They've been beating him up
not
for 20 years,
black. And I'm like, these are some of the smartest people in our country. And to me, it is so disrespectful to talk to them, to talk about them that way.
It was mind-blowing to me that here we have a legitimate black first. He's the second black man on the Supreme Court. The black community, as they like to call themselves, should be celebrating him, but instead they're attacking him because he's on the wrong side of the aisle. I just thought that was so telling of who these people are. And that's why another reason I can't align myself with them is because black is black. I don't even consider myself black because I'm not black like they're black.
Right.
Yeah, as Veronica said, in our world, we live in meritocracy. That's what I look at. I don't. What have you done? What are you doing?
Well, but I think also, Bill,
smart person,
John and I come from the military culture. He sadly was in the Navy. I was in the awesome Air Force.
In the Air Force.
So we banter, but and then I grew up as an Air Force brat, and my entire existence of my childhood and then joining the military for 20 years was multicultural, every color, and nobody was ever prejudiced against somebody's skin color, so it wasn't until politics that this has become a problem. And it's so nice to live, I call it a Barney world. When my son was young, and Barney, I love you, you love me, and Barney was purple, and I raised my children that way. But we are so, and since Obama took office, I feel like when Obama took off, you have to tell me this as a black man, I was so excited because I was like, finally, we're going to put that race stuff to bed. And it's been worse more than ever now, honestly.
I know. I thought that too. I remember being so happy that finally they can stop crying about America being racist because, look, now we have a black president. But I actually wasn't involved in politics for his whole reign. But I know that he didn't make anything better.
So true. And then you live up in Philly, and Philly was making a lot of news this weekend. They were anti-Trump, and their editorial board kicked Trump. They kicked him in the gut. They're like, we can't vote for Trump. So what is that like, being from Philly? And you guys are making a lot of noise up there against Trump this weekend.
But Trump was here last weekend at Temple University, and I went. And it was a beautiful experience.
Oh, cool.
So, it's all the media. The media is lying about everything. There were so many people of different races at the rally, and nobody was fighting. Nobody was nasty. They said there were protesters, but they left before I even got there. So, I mean, it's, if you go into the real world, it's fine. But if you watch the media, it's a firestorm of hatred against them.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, when are you moving to Freedom, Florida, I guess is my next question.
Well, you have my room ready?
I do, with a view on the water, actually. We can go boating every weekend, but it was a really hot, stormy weekend, which almost killed me. Oh, my gosh. When you leave church and it's like raining like a hurricane, and I was unprepared. But anyways, I wanted to ask you, too, because the rumor mill is that Michelle Obama might be the one that that saves everything. I mean, would that? Do you think she would change the race?
Well, I was just telling my best friend yesterday that if I would vote for any Democrat, I would vote for her, but only because she had the Children's Nutrition Initiative. But then in later years, she tried to play the victim card too, and so I know that she does whatever they tell her to do. But I would never vote for any Democrat, but I know that everybody would turn out for her more so than they will for Biden. Because most of the people I know, now they're doing the both sides thing where, Biden has Alzheimer's, but Trump is old too, so I don't want to vote for either of them. But they won't say, I'm still going to vote for Biden. They'll just pretend like they don't want to vote for anybody.
Do you like
the lesser of two evils?
Do you like Tulsi Gabbard at all?
I do like her. I liked her when she was back when I used to see her on Tucker in 2020, and then she left the party. So, I mean, I think I would vote for her.
Well, and that's one of the ones I keep saying. What if Trump announced Tulsi as his VP?
I think that would be decent. I mean, it would at least get the female vote, but only the conservative female vote, which I don't know if he's even struggling to get that.
Right.
Because, everything is so partisan.
It is.
I mean, and everything is partisan beyond the actual parties. It's by race, it's by gender, it's by sexuality. They've carved everything up so we can never actually be the United States again until we get them out and we get a uniter in, a unifier. I mean, Trump is the only one, but, he's the one that they're all against, so he can't do what needs to be done. They're going to stop him. But he would be the one.
So true.
Well, I hope that, there's the, some discussions going around that if Trump wins, that he is going to come in with an agenda because he already knows the swamp very well. And he's gonna fire a lot of them and radical's a bad word. Change the characteristics of get rid of all this rot at the top and put in people that are for America, that want to make this country great again.
So Bill, go ahead, John.
Yeah.
I say so. To me that's a focus, and you're absolutely correct. I hate it when Republicans, and we were just talking to Republican strategists a little while ago, I hate it when the Republicans try to play the Democrat game of, well, this person will, if I pick this person for vice president, he'll take care of the Christians, and if I pick this person over here, he'll take care of the northern whatevers, and he'll take care of the western things. Yeah, I hate it when they do that because it's like, as you said, it's dividing us instead of uniting us, and I think that's.
I agree.
And I agree with you. Obama, I thought, wanted to be the, end the race thing, unite everybody, let's have one America. And unfortunately that was never came about.
Well, it's like the Democrat Party looked at what we are and they said, what do we need to chisel away at? What are our stress points? Let's start with the word united. Let's get rid of that. And then once everyone's divided, let's work on that. And so they're just chiseling away at everything. And now you've got AOC talking about impeaching the Supreme Court. Like that's something that can actually happen.
Very true.
It's ridiculous.
Well, I wanted to ask you, like Trump has been through so much, and you're there in Philly, and he had the New York City trial and the July 11th, I think they're going to take him away to prison, Bill. I'm telling you. And then, of course, we have the famous mugshot. So you're closer to New York than we are. What are your thoughts do you think he's going to be taken to prison July 8th? I really think he's going to because they don't want him out on the campaign trail.
Well, they have to, but I don't think they will because I think that would touch off the Second American Revolution. If they do that, then they become no better than the British were when we rebelled against them. Because it's stupid. You can't treat him the way you've never treated any other president before without us rising up. Well, at least that's what I hope.
Right. So is it true, because when I was researching you, that your Patti LaBelle's, the famous Patti LaBelle, her adopted son, was that true that I bumped into online?
I'm her nephew. Her sister was my mother.
Wow. And what was that like, just to get off on a happy topic, growing around somebody that the entire world knows that can belt out, that woman, she's one of the iconic singers in life. What was that like growing up around her?
Well, I didn't grow up around her, really. I didn't move into her world until 2006. I was an independent guy, and then I had a setback, and so I moved into her world, and it was not as magical as you might think. I haven't talked about it yet, but yeah, and now that we're on opposite sides of the political fence, she has a picture online of her with Kamala, so I'm not her favorite person right now.
Well, family's family. So, wow. Well, I was
except
so
for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Not a Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, I've got a story to tell later, but it will blow the internet away if I ever tell it.
Oh, well, please break it on Veronica Live. I'm trying to blow up every day over here. So what are we missing, Mill? John and I, November, it's do or die. We've got to take the country back. And I've been a Republican my entire life. You're a newbie. What's your bottom line for November and Trump and taking back our country and getting our borders secure and stop sending money off to Ukraine, billions? And nobody ever gives me free money, Bill. I'm still waiting.
I know, right?
My college was paid for. My parents paid for it, even though it barely cost anything compared to today. And I got a real degree, not a basket weaving one. So what does November and Trump mean to you in saving America?
It means everything, but it means the same thing it meant in 2020. And if that happened then I have to think that they've got a plan for it to happen now. Because otherwise, they would run somebody who can actually win instead of somebody who they won by cheating with.
So true.
That's my take on it. But, I want to be optimistic. I'm going to vote no matter what, and I'm about to post about that. I'm going to vote because the country does depend on it. Because if Biden wins again, I don't think we'll ever have another Republican president who isn't just a rhino that they put in so that we think we still have two operating parties.
You're so true.
So Bill, I wanted to ask you something. I'm somewhat familiar. Years ago, I used to live in the suburb of Philadelphia, up in Norristown, before I moved to Florida. Oh. Saw the light and moved to Florida. Anyway, so Philly politics is can be rough and tumble. Let's leave it that way.
Yeah, they're known for cheating.
Yeah, I remember the Street Brothers. That was always entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when the last election wasn't Philadelphia like 99.9% vote for Biden? I mean, it was so ridiculously high that statistically you just couldn't believe it wasn't a bunch of cheating going on. Do you think it's going to be something similar, or do you think there's some?
I do.
There's
I
a
don't
change.
think there's anything they won't stoop to beat Trump, because it's not that they want to win the election. They want to beat Trump. And it's in all the tweets today from everybody, including Joy Reid. We have to beat Trump no matter what we have to do that. And that's bad for a country that's supposed to have democratic values, because instead of it being an election, it's become a war. And it's become a war that they're determined to win no matter what they have to do to win it.
That's a good characterization.
Well, you have such clarity, and there's been a few people I've fallen in love with on X, and John is not one of them. He actually just started his account yesterday because I nagged him so much, Bill. But everyone needs to.
Account, John?
My account is FlyNavy_John, which Veronica says I shouldn't have the underscore in there, but so it's just FlyNavy_John.
And literally, I'm honored to be his first follower as of 5 minutes ago, because it's taken him months to get this.
I'm your second follower.
Wow. Well, and so Byl, I've fallen in love with a few people online. I'm sad to admit I fell in love with like Bill Maher, because sometimes he actually, for a lib, he's got clarity. And then I totally fell in love with you. So I'm going to be following you like crazy.
Thank you.
I want to have you back. And then I know you connected me to Joey, he's huge. I can't even say his last name on X. I've been following him for a while. He's so vocal and out there. So I want you to make that love connection for me. But you're Sir Byl Holte, spelled BYL Holt. He's the angry American who sees it all clearly now. And you got to have you back, because you've got such clarity, and it's been such a joy. And you get free drinks when you come down to Freedom, Florida. John's buy-in.
I do want to move to Florida, but it's going to take a lot for me to get there.
Well, we're in the Panhandle, and then John's kind of Panhandle / Georgia man now, because he likes to drive a tractor with a seatbelt. Which I told him, if there's no TJ Maxx, there, I can't move and be his neighbor. So it's not happening.
We do have a Target.
All right. Well, Bill Holt, God bless you, and we'll have you back. And we've got to do an X Space too. So thanks for coming on Veronica Live.
Thank you, Veronica. I really enjoyed it.
All right. We'll be right back on Veronica Live.